Look at a map of the eastern United States right now. Pull it up on your phone today. Notice where towns and cities sit. Notice where old factories stand empty. Notice where rail lines still run straight and where highways bend. Then notice something else. Notice how many of these places line up in the same bands, same distances, same valleys, same worn hills, same rivers. This is not random. It never was. Drive through western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, West Virginia, or eastern Kentucky. You see coal towns, steel towns, rail towns. Some still hanging on, some half empty. People argue about why they rose and why they fell. They blame leaders, they blame trade, they blame bad luck. But none of that explains why these places formed right where they did. And it does not explain why other places never formed at all. The real reason sits under your tires. It sits under your house. It sits under the diner floor. Look at the hills. They are not sharp. They are rounded. They have soft shapes like knuckles worn smooth. That tells you something right away. These are old hills. Very old. They are 6 times older than the Rockies out west. The evidence is clear. These eastern mountains are among the oldest things on our planet. They have survived 480 million years. That is 479 million years before humans even evolved. These peaks used to stand taller than the Himalayas do today. Now they are low and rounded because weather wore them down for almost 500 million years. Back when they first formed, no plants grew on land anywhere. Only simple sea creatures lived in the water. Pennsylvania was not even where it is now. It sat right on the equator. It was covered in tropical rainforests. This was the age when coal formed. All the continents were joined into one giant landmass called Pangaea. You are driving over a world that was once tropical and connected to Africa. For decades, nobody could figure out why the rivers here cut straight through the mountains instead of going around them. It made no sense. Water takes the easy route. But geologists have finally solved the mystery. Now we know exactly why this happens. Start with what you can see right now. Drive past a field after a big rain. You notice the soil is dark and soft. It sticks to tires. It cracks when it gets dry. That soil tells the whole story. People argue about policy and leaders, but the land decided the fate of these towns long before any vote. The mystery people ask is simple. Why does one town live off crops while the neighbor lives off factories? The answer is not taste or culture. The answer is under your boots. We now know exactly why. Trucks carry wheat and corn to storage yards. Cotton bales sit under tarps. Small mills grind grain. Warehouses line the highway. You do not see blast furnaces or giant mines in the flat plains. This pattern repeats across much of the Midwest. Towns close to each other feel similar. Then you cross a line and everything changes fast. That shift lines up with soil, water, and rock. For years, people just guessed. Then geologists drilled holes. They tested the dirt. They dated the layers. The numbers finally lined up. The explanation is finished. Here are the facts that lock it in. This land sits on river mud stacked thousands of feet thick. It is like stacking 40 houses on top of each other. These rivers once spread wide like inland seas. The ground is flat because it was filled with mud, not pushed up by force. Water is easy to move because the slopes are gentle. You can run a canal for miles without needing a single pump. Gravity does the work for you. That saves money forever. Once a canal is built, it keeps paying. Places without that gentle slope need massive pumps. Pumps need power. Power costs money. That difference never goes away. Crops love this dirt because it holds water but lets in enough air. That mix is rare. It makes harvests steady year after year. That stability pulls in food plants and storage yards. Light factories follow the food. Heavy plants do not come here because the ground is soft. It sinks under heavy weight. Now compare nearby regions and the pattern sharpens. Go west and the ground dries out. Hard rock rises to the surface. Water sinks or vanishes. Farming thins out. Mining and tourism take over. These are not choices. These are limits. People often say industry chose these places. That feels good because it gives us a sense of control. But the record says the land chose first. Planners just followed what the ground allowed. Where canals could run, they ran. Where roads could carry loads without sinking, they were built. Where rock was near the surface, quarries opened up. Policy followed physics. To prove this, teams took core samples. They drilled straight down from fields. They pulled up layers like a giant cake. Topsoil sat on top, then fine silt, then clay, then more silt. They found no hard rock for a very long way. Each layer held tiny shells and rounded grains. That tells you slow water laid it down. These were not violent floods. These were slow rivers over a very long time. In some places, this mud is thousands of feet thick. That is longer than 10 football fields end to end. That thickness means stability. Roots can spread out deep. Wells refill fast. It provides a foundation that never quits. Third evidence is what you do not see. You do not see deep coal seams near the surface in the flat plains. You do not see iron ore close by. Those minerals formed in older, harder ground. Without nearby ore, heavy steel plants make no sense. Hauling raw rock long distances kills your profit. So the land filters industry before anyone signs a single paper. Now think about a near-miss moment. If this plain sat just 500 feet higher, the rivers would cut faster. The soil would wash away into the sea. Farming would be much riskier. Towns would be smaller. Or imagine if the hard rock edge sat 10 miles further east. The fields would be thinner. Wells would fail more often. These margins are tight. Your life is different because of a few miles of rock. But then geologists found the thing that sealed the case. They traced the source of this dirt. They matched the grains and minerals along the whole plain. The mix is the same for hundreds of miles. Same rounded quartz, same clay blend, same age pattern. This means one giant system fed the whole region. Ancient rivers carried ground-down mountain rock and spread it like a blanket. Labs dated tiny crystals using decay clocks. This is called radioactive dating. It measures how uranium turns into lead over time. It works like sand in an hourglass. The mix tells you the exact age. 3 universities ran these tests. Penn State, Virginia Tech, and UNC all got the same answer. The plain is a single, massive fill. The case is closed. People ask why some neighbors pull ahead. Being close to a big market matters, but only if the ground lets you build. Northern towns near big cities sit on this same flat fill. Roads stay straight. Warehouses spread wide. Auto plants and tech parks fit without having to blast through hard rock. That pulls in money fast. Further south, towns on the same fill but further from the market stay focused on crops. They are not worse. They just have a different reach. We learned this piece by piece. In the 1980s, teams mapped soil depth mile by mile. In the 1990s, they drilled deeper cores. In the 2000s, satellite data showed water flow paths. Each step removed doubt. Old theories about culture and choice fell away. New ones fit all the facts. Another reveal comes from the floods. Where rivers can spread wide, they drop fresh silt each year. That renews the fields for free. But it also limits big factories that hate water risk. Light industry can handle it. Food plants expect it. Heavy plants avoid it. This is why you see one type of work and not the other. Compare the dry states out west. Rain comes in bursts. It runs off fast over the hard rock. Little sinks in. Farming struggles without deep wells, but mining wins because the rock is right there at the surface. Tourism wins because the rock makes beautiful hills and forts. The land sets the menu for what you can do. Here is a ranking that should help settle your nerves. These eastern plains are among the most stable farmlands on Earth. They have fed people for thousands of years. They will feed people for thousands more. Markets rise and fall. The dirt stays. That is regional longevity. Industries come and go, but the land remains. Method matters. So let us look closer at the dating. Scientists use uranium as a geological clock. It breaks down into lead at a known rate. They measured the mix in grains from different depths. The deeper grains were older. The pattern matched across the whole state. This clock does not lie. These results were published in the Journal of Geology and checked by major experts. When independent teams from different universities match, the debate ends. Now tie this to your daily life. When you see a storage yard pop up near a highway, it is not a whim. The ground can carry the load without sinking. The slope drains the rain. The river brings the water. Trucks can turn without having to cut through steep hills. Costs stay low. That is why light plants fit here like a glove. Do not make the mistake of thinking plains are empty or boring. That misses the power of flat land. Flat land lets systems spread out. Roads, wires, pipes, and canals all work better. That silent advantage compounds every single year. Think about another near miss. If the rivers here had cut deep channels instead of spreading wide, the floods would be violent, the soil would wash away, farming would fail often. That did not happen because the slope is gentle. That single fact saved generations of work. It is why your family could stay. This place did not win because people tried harder than those in the mountains. It won because the land set easy rules. Other places face harder rules. That is not failure. That is physics. Understanding that takes a heavy weight off your shoulders. We can see the timeline clearly now. Long before humans, the mountains to the north and west wore down. Rivers carried that ground east and south. Layer by layer, the plain built up. Later, people arrived and found soft, wet dirt that grew food fast. They dug canals that worked with gravity. Towns formed where storage made sense. In recent decades, markets pulled some places ahead where flatland met big cities. The sequence fits with no gaps. The smoking gun is the match across the whole plain. Same grains, same ages, same thickness, same water behavior. There is no other explanation that fits all the evidence. Now let's talk about the mountains. This is where the real drama happened. For a long time, geologists thought the mountains rose up and then the rivers found a way around them. That makes sense on the surface. But then they found something that changed everything. They mapped the ocean floor. They found magnetic stripes in the rock. These stripes proved the continents were moving. But the real proof came from matching rocks across the Atlantic Ocean. Geologists found identical rock layers in Scotland and in our eastern mountains. They are the same type. They are the same age. They have the same minerals. There is only one explanation. These mountains were once connected. Scotland and our range were one single range before the ocean opened up. 3 different labs tested these rocks. All of them found perfect matches. This was the breakthrough we needed. It proved that the continents split apart 200 million years ago, but the mountains were already there. And even more amazing, the rivers were already there too. Geologists measured how fast a river cuts through hard rock. It is about 1 inch every 1,000 years. That is slower than your fingernails grow. Then they dated when the modern mountains started rising again. They found the rivers were cutting down at the exact same speed the land was rising up. The rates matched perfectly. The rivers were already flowing on a flat plain when the ground started to buckle. As the mountains rose, the water just kept cutting through. The rivers maintained their course. That is why they cut straight through the hardest peaks today. They were there first. This changes everything for those of us living in these valleys. It means the landscape is even more permanent than we thought. These rivers have been on the same path for millions of years. They outlasted the rise of mountains. They outlasted the Ice Age. They will outlast us. Geography is permanent on human timescales. These hills were here 480 million years ago. They will be here another 480 million, just a bit shorter from the wind and rain. Industries come and go. Populations shift. Jobs move elsewhere. But the actual land does not change during our lifetimes. Your region's geology determined how it developed. It decided where the cities formed. It decided which resources existed. That is not anyone's fault. That is geology. Mountains created isolated valleys. Those valleys made each community different. Geography shaped our culture for hundreds of years. Every region has advantages and disadvantages written into the stone millions of years ago. Our mountains gave us coal but made travel hard. The flat plains have soil for farming but no protection from the wind. No place is perfect. Your region's strengths and weaknesses come from forces older than life itself. When people from the coast criticize our towns, they are just criticizing the rock. They are criticizing geology, not the people living on it. The land shaped our history. You cannot change the rock. Understanding this removes the blame. Geography is permanent on human timescales and remains the constant foundation beneath our shifting lives. The geographic patterns we see today were determined by ancient forces that science has now fully documented and explained. The mystery is solved. The evidence from core samples and rock matching has confirmed that the land itself set the path for our development. Next time you drive through these hills, you are witnessing those ancient forces in action. The same processes that shaped the land millions of years ago are still working today, and the case is closed. Understanding these permanent geological forces helps explain why certain patterns exist in the landscape and why our communities formed where they did. The geographic features we observe are not random, but are the direct result of ancient processes. Knowing this brings a sense of calm and clarity to our history. The debate over why our regions developed this way is over because the answer was always right beneath our feet. The proof is stacked in the layers of the earth, and the question is definitively answered.